Hello and welcome you delicious subscribers to what is going to be, I know a lot of people are doing these, I'm probably going to get slated for it, but it is a Black Ops 2 trailer analysis. Obviously I'm doing this a bit late as I have a life and I didn't want to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning everything, to wait for the trailer to come out as it was. I'm sure you'll appreciate that dig. Just a bit of banter, he knows how it is. But anyway, we're going to kind of jump into it. I'm going to have what is the trailer. If you haven't seen it already, this will be something nice for you to see, kind of flowing in the background, and then I'm going to pause at specific places in the video and kind of give you what I kind of think the different aspects of the trailer are getting at, what I think you're going to be able to see in the game. And obviously there is a lot of hype about it at this moment. It was trending on Twitter this morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's 6 hours after release, so it's not too bad. And so I'm going to jump straight into this, and as you can see in the kind of opening sequence, we get a kind of, the debrief or briefing as it is you get whenever you go into every kind of Call of Duty game for each mission. And obviously, just I'm going to put this out at the beginning, this is the single player trailer. Kind of, it's going to be comprising of a lot of cinematics as opposed to like huge gameplay related aspects. So there's going to be a few things I can pick up on, obviously not overly loads, but the first thing we're going to do, as you can see here at the bottom, it says The Vault. That's obviously the name of one of the missions, and obviously Sergeant Frank Woods, and that's obviously going to be, and it says retired after him, so that's going to be the guy in the chair. Obviously people will probably think it might be Yuri, because there was talk, I don't know if it was FPS Russia, saying he might come back and things like that. So obviously this is the guy in the chair talking about what he's seen in past wars. That's what's going to be going on. As you can see, it's June the 18th, but the key thing you want to be taking out of here is 2025, and this is a great leap forward for Call of Duty, because a lot of people normally complain saying, oh, it's always the same each year, it's recycled stuff, it's just a different map set, a few new guns. But obviously Treyarch have gone huge in on this. They haven't, obviously they've done the Cold War, they started with World at War, went to Black Ops 2, which was the Cold War, and now they're going past that to kind of futuristic warfare, which is what I kind of like to see. It's going to bring a new element to the game, and I'm sure a lot of people kind of enjoy, I'd like to think, but I don't want people getting too hyped up for this, because if you hype things up, they sometimes are a bit of a huge letdown. But anyway, I'm going to let the trailer roll a bit, and you see this is old Frank Woods in his retirement centre. Looks like he's in a wheelchair and he's obviously, saying a few things here and there. And it looks a bit stressed. The graphics, I'm going to pause here, the graphics actually looking quite good here. The face render, when I first watched it, the first kind of opening scene, I kind of thought, is this realistic? Is this like an actual live action trailer, which they sometimes produce, but it obviously isn't. It's just very, very good graphics. Shadows look good. Obviously that's just the Treyarch logo there, it's nothing too special. Now here we go, this is the first thing you see. This kind of looks like a futuristic spaceship, as you can see. I'm going to move it on a little bit and it's just landing it. But obviously you might be able to kind of use these in the single player aspect, as like sometimes you use the AC-130 and things like that. So I'm kind of thinking this might be either just a kind of type of transport, or it might be a type of like offensive weapon. But obviously they haven't revealed much there, because it's just landing into what could be the headquarters for the Call of Duty Black Ops, so we don't know. And there, just the sort of huge little glints there very, very quickly. That's the quadrotor. What the thing that FPS Russia did in his last video, where he was kind of blowing some things up and people are like, oh my days, this is fake. But no, obviously it isn't fake, it's in there. And then this is kind of, looks like a very, very futuristic tank with a huge kind of minigun turret on the top, which looks pretty awesome. Looks like possibly a grenade launcher as well, and some sights for them to look out of. I'm kind of thinking that obviously this has got nothing really in respect to multiplayer, but when you look back to World at War, Treyarch were kind of notorious for including vehicles into their game, so whether or not they include it in multiplayer is still to be seen, but maybe they want to kind of bring that back and include it straight into the single player. So that would be quite nice to see, because I love the missions where you kind of get really involved, like I don't know if it was Modern Warfare 2 on the jet skis not their snowmobile, sorry, they were really good fun. And it looks as though it, instead of, you see it jerked a bit, it looks as though it kind of stand up sort of thing, so not really Transformer-esque, but you know what I mean. Obviously not just the bog standard going along the floor. That's obviously a huge nuclear missile, and loads of quadropers kind of flown around. Now this kind of looks like a stealth bomber because the way it's shaped, but obviously it's futuristic, so there's not a lot you can really say about this. Obviously it might either be a UAV or it might be a, you know, little stealth bomber, but it doesn't look as though it's got any missiles at the bottom, so I'm not really going to delve into that too much. But if you look there, it looks as though, I don't know whether that's a missile, but it looks very much like the same thing. So it kind of looks like a suicide bomber, where it's like I'd kind of expect it to be a UAV where you'll be able to guide it in and just go straight in and blow up the building and take some damage there. So that's what I'm thinking that is from that two scenes there. Obviously this looks very similar to an Osprey gunner, but I think that's probably more of a transport thing, just a bit of cinematic for the single player thing. I wouldn't really think too much into that. Obviously it could have a few offensive weapons at the back and things like that, so we're going to move on. More quadropers just shooting people. And now this looks as though, what I'm thinking is probably the heads-up display for the quadroper, but I can't really confirm that, but that would be kind of my guess, as it's kind of going from one scene to the next. You can see in the bottom left hand corner of the heads-up display of what I think is the quadroper is that it says tap LB for squad follow or hold LB for all follow. So that's kind of implying that you're going to have a squad of these quadropers like in one of these missions, or possibly an online multiplayer game or something, as it has got a heads-up timer at the top. But it also says there's a few objectives on the screen, so this is kind of implying to me that this could possibly be a kind of a leak from the multiplayer, because you see to the kind of middle right it says protect, so it's kind of like Team Defender-esque, where it's also saying secure position P, so it's kind of implying that you know, it's very objective based and team based, and these quadropers are kind of like, well, I think as the recon drone as it is in Modern Warfare 3, and it says bottom left, new enemy activity detected, so it looks as though it's able to pick up on any activity as it is, as you'll see in a minute, as you kind of flies around the corner and sees some enemies, and it's kind of looks as though it's tagged above their head. So I'm kind of thinking this might be some multiplayer footage, but it might also just be single player, so I can't really say much about that. Now this looks very, very interesting. This looks sort of like a map, but could be kind of a remote device for the quadroper, because you did see in FPS Rush's video that he had like a tablet, so I don't know whether they're going to include it so you've got a tablet on your arm, so that would kind of imply that it will be very useful throughout the campaign, but I'm not quite sure about that yet. But from the looks of it, it just kind of looks like a very funky watch, because it's got a timepiece in the top left hand corner. But obviously, and then these are just some holograms of the map, and this could be like the training room with this guy walking down here. Not quite sure. It looks a bit alien like, which is a bit weird to see. But once again, we're back onto the tanks as it is, and little droids, which I think would be quite cool. It kind of reminds me of the Wally bots and the assault drone in Modern Warfare 3. But I haven't really got much to say there. Obviously more quadropers and then the Osprey gunner thing as it is. Now this is kind of looks like the guy at the beginning of the trailer kind of was implying that when you give people the keys, what they can do with it. So it's kind of implying that the robots are fighting back. So that to some extent you're going to have to try and defend, you know, the world from itself as it is. And it just looks like this massive thing is kind of taking out that building there, and obviously that's just going to be a cinematic cutscene as the plane thing kind of takes in and gives it some heavy fire. There's just more kind of cinematics with some nice subliminal advertisement cola there in the background. More droids and a few quadropers, and this is the thing I was talking about. It looks like it can walk with the huge turrets, multiple kind of armory there, so that looks a bit menacing. And we're back on this bad boy here, as he's going to kind of see what he has to say for himself.
What happens when the enemy steals the keys?
See, when the enemy steals the keys, as I said. So this kind of looks another one like a dive bombing stealth bomber sort of things. It's flattening the ground there, and obviously a lot of the fighting, well, in this trailer anyway, was kind of centered around Los Angeles, and it's getting absolutely murked there by the robots as you get the helicopter going in. And this kind of threw me because it looks like it's going back to like the Middle East with like the uprisings and stuff. So I was kind of a bit like, okay, right, it's a huge change, and yeah, I kind of expect this guy, this geezer, to be the bad man, like we have Al-Assad in COD 4 and things like that. I'm kind of expecting this to be him, but you know, I can't really confirm that. And this looks very, very interesting. This kind of air support, this aircraft, it kind of looks very Battlefield 3-esque, and I highly doubt whether they're going to incorporate that into the multiplayer version. But obviously I kind of expect there to be a side mission in the game where you're going to be taking over control of this, and that will be very, very good fun, I can imagine. Obviously it's not too futuristic. Obviously you see it's still got the cars and the helicopters and all that good stuff. It's going into Los Angeles downtown there to get taken out, but it looks as though the police are fighting back the special force units, and I'm not entirely sure what this gun is. It looks very much just like a hand pistol there, but it could be something like a taser gun, but obviously they'll be quite effective against robots, so I was kind of thinking it might be that, but overall I'm not entirely sure. When I get some more information on that, I'll upload a separate video. But now this, I wasn't sure who this is, but this is obviously one of the main characters which the franchise is going to kind of centre about, and looks like it's got a very beastly gun. See these, oh, that's a nice screenshot through his eye actually. These, I was kind of thinking were going to be the bad men, but then again, if it's going down the lines of good versus evil, man versus machine, then these could just be some special forces just breaching and clearing. So obviously he was just a bit worried about what's going on, and that's just a very epic screenshot, cinematic of a silhouette of a man there. This guy keeps going, I'm not going to lie. But obviously the trailer has come to an end, just a few more cinematic pieces, but one thing that's going to stop it there, and it looks as though like you could machine man and machine gun on one of the big like Osprey gunner things there, so that was kind of what I'm thinking there. Obviously just some more fighting action, nothing too much like to analyse in depth. This just looks like one of the last stand scenes that they always kind of put into the Call of Duty series, so probably the closing mission I was thinking, with the kind of jet kind of hovering over him. And these, it kind of still looks like it's going to have man versus man battles, because as I said with the Uprising, I think he'll probably be the bad guy, so maybe he's took control of all the like robots and spaceships as it is, and we've got to go in and try and clear him out. That's what I'm thinking. That's kind of tying back to the Middle Eastern, kind of looks a bit Arabic kind of setting there, and that's where the horses probably tie in nicely overall, because a lot of people were kind of thrown when I saw this. But if I'm thinking right, because it's a very hilly area, I'm kind of thinking Middle East, so I think this is just like when you're chasing down the bad men as it is, and it looks pretty epic with horses jumping on and lots of things collapsing. But I think the trailer is coming to an end here. There isn't much else to kind of go over as what I've kind of analysed so far. The only thing is with the, looks like an AC-130 again, and just picking up a kill looks as though. So overall, I want to thank you for watching. I hope this has been useful for you and you found it enjoyable. And obviously at the end, the future is black. It's going to be Black Ops 2. Huge reveal there. So I'm going to keep you updated, and this is going to be like the covering video for my tips and tricks series for Black Ops 2. So I hope you enjoy, and if you're not subscribed, do subscribe to keep up to date with future Black Ops 2 content and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys later for most probably a Modern Warfare 3 gameplay video.